Welcome to Talmudic Treasures. Today we're learning Moed Katan, page 10, which continues to discuss some of the laws regarding Chol HaMoed. Now, even though we have to be cautious not to do work on Chol HaMoed, there are exceptions. When it comes to someone who is not an expert or not involved in what's called Masi Uman, one is allowed to, for example, do certain forms of sewing, because that activity or similar type of activities, which is called a masa hedyot, that is not something in which requires great level of expertise, and therefore on this they are lenient. We also learn that when it comes to a person who is engaged in business dealings, and in the event that they're not able to, for example, collect on this particular day, the people that owe them money will not be around on a future date, this falls under the category of what's called a davar ha'aved, something in which there is a monetary loss. And as we've said, whenever that takes place, that there is a potential financial loss, so we again are lenient and one is allowed to do those things on Chol HaMoed. Furthermore, based on one's intentions, the Talmud shows us, we can have an idea if they're doing it for the sake of the Moed, for themselves, or they're doing it in order to just simply, let's say, improve the ground. So, for example, a person is not allowed to prune. Now, the only way that it would be obvious that he's doing it for the sake of a tree is if he's removing branches on both sides. However, if he's only removing from one side, then it's possible that he's actually using those soft branches for animal consumption. Furthermore, if let's say he has branches on the ground, so we can also decipher what this person is doing and what their intentions are. If this person decides to gather all the branches, large and small, it's clear that he's doing it in order to be able to improve their grounds. However, if he's only gathering up the large branches, but not the small ones, which are not good for firewood, then it's very clear that, again, he must be doing this for the sake of making a fire, which of course is allowed if he wants to make a fire on Chol Moed. As we also saw, the person who makes an oven, a person is actually allowed to make an oven, but there's actually a difference between Sukkot and Pesach. We're more lenient when it comes to Chol Moed and Pesach because it is usually hotter and drier. And therefore that oven will dry up, and therefore that person will be able to use that oven basically on that day or a day or so later on Chol Moed, but not during Sukkot where it's still moist and wet, which that will not be able to be used until afterwards and therefore cannot be made on Chol HaMoed.